Top 10 Best Massey Ferguson Tractors of All Time. For nearly 70 years, one name has been synonymous with agriculture: Massey Ferguson. From the quiet back roads of England to the vast plains of North America, from the small fields of Africa to the mechanized operations of South America, these tractors have shaped the way the world produces food. The story of Massey Ferguson is about more than horsepower. It's about machines that have become heirlooms, tractors that have pulled through decades of harvests, and innovations that have shaped generations of farmers. Each model on this list has made its mark in different ways, some by revolutionizing comfort and technology, others by their incredible resilience in the harshest conditions, and a few by becoming icons of global agriculture. This isn't a list of numbers on a page. It's a journey through 10 machines that change the way we farm, from compact utility models to modern machines. Some of these tractors are still in operation today. Others live on in collections and memories. Together, they tell the story of how a brand built its reputation, field by field and farm by farm. In today's episode, we take a look at the 10 best Massey Ferguson tractors of all time. And the machine that takes the #1 spot isn't simply the most powerful or the newest. It's the one that changed everything. Ranked 10th, Massey Ferguson 8S Series, the redefinition of power. After a long journey through legendary icons of the past, the countdown reaches its finale with the Massey Ferguson 8S Series, unveiled in 2020 to redefine the 200 to 300 horsepower class. At its heart lies a 7.4-liter AGCO power six-cylinder engine, delivering between 205 and 305 horsepower, depending on the model. Engine power management provides an additional 20 horsepower under heavy load. Transmission options range from the efficient Dyna 7 to the dual-clutch Dyna E-Power and the seamless Dyna VT continuously variable system, each designed to balance torque, speed, and fuel economy. The 8S is distinguished by its Protect You design, featuring a 24-centimeter gap between the engine and cab, which cuts interior noise to just 68 decibels while reducing vibration and heat. The cab itself is expansive, with 360-degree visibility, ergonomic seating, and Datatronic integration, giving operators a workspace suited for long hours of demanding fieldwork. Developed to replace the 7700S line, the 8S was built on thousands of hours of farmer feedback from around the world. In 2025, the updated 8S Extra expanded on its strengths, adding advanced LED lighting, improved airflow, refined interiors, and upgraded connectivity through FieldStar and ISO-BUS compatibility. In practice, the 8S has become a mainstay on large farms across Europe and North America, powering deep tillage, high-speed seeding, and heavy implement hauling with equal efficiency. While its high purchase price and specialized maintenance make it a luxury out of reach for small farms, for modern large-scale agriculture, it represents a strategic investment in productivity, efficiency, and operator comfort. A growing second-hand market is already emerging, where well-maintained units retain substantial value thanks to their balance of power and advanced features. And in the end, no further words are needed. The film lingers on its iconic red frame, the precision of its welds, the glow of its LED lights against the dusk, and the deliberate separation of cab and engine. The Massey Ferguson 8S stands alone as an object of modern engineering, letting its presence define the #1 position in this countdown. Ranked 9th, Massey Ferguson 7600, the mid-range revolution. From futuristic designs, we turn back to a machine that defined the transition into modern farming. The Massey Ferguson 7600 series, introduced in 2011. Built at Beauvais, France, it was launched to replace the 6,400 and 7,400 ranges and immediately positioned itself as a workhorse for professional farms. Under the hood, AGCO power engines delivered between 140 and 255 horsepower, meeting new Tier 4 interim emission standards through selective catalytic reduction. This provided farmers with substantial torque and cleaner exhaust, without sacrificing efficiency, a critical step as environmental regulations tightened across Europe and North America. Transmission choice was a central aspect of its appeal. Operators could select the proven Dyna 6 semi-power shift for durable, straightforward control, or the Dyna VT continuously variable transmission for seamless speed adjustment and maximum fuel savings. This flexibility made the 7600 adaptable. One farmer might run it on heavy tillage with the CVT, while another used it for general contracting with the semi-power shift. Hydraulic flow rates of up to 110 liters per minute and a rear linkage capable of lifting over 9,000 kilograms meant the tractor could support demanding implements, from drills to large balers, giving it credibility as a truly multi-purpose machine. However, it was in the cab that many noticed the difference. Massey Ferguson redesigned the operator environment with better visibility, reduced noise, and integrated controls. The Datatronic 4 terminal allowed farmers to monitor performance and connect implements through Isobus, introducing many to precision farming for the first time. For contractors who often spend long hours in the seat, the 7600 offered not just power, but comfort and control at a higher level than before. In practice, the series spread quickly across Europe and into North America. Mid-sized farms valued the balance of power and maneuverability, while large operations saw it as a reliable mid-range machine that could cover diverse jobs. Contractors praised its ability to switch roles through the year, plowing fields in spring, baling hay in summer, hauling loads in autumn. It earned a reputation for durability, with AGCO engines and transmissions that withstood thousands of hours of work when properly maintained. Although the 7600 is no longer in production, it continues to hold value in the second-hand market. Well-maintained models with Dyna VT transmission often sell quickly at auction, seen as the sweet spot between older, simpler tractors and the more expensive 7708 S lines that followed. For many buyers, it represents a cost-effective way to access modern comfort and technology without the price tag of a brand new machine. The 760's story does not end in disappearance. Instead, it remains preserved in the record of Massey Ferguson as the series that carried farmers from mechanical reliability into digital agriculture. This pivotal archive entry remains a fixture in fields and on auction floors today. Ranked 8th, Massey Ferguson 4700, the global workhorse. Today, the Massey Ferguson 4700 series can be found working in fields from the cotton belts of Africa to mixed farms across Europe and the Americas. Farmers rely on its 3-cylinder AGCO power engine, producing between 75 and 100 horsepower to handle jobs that demand consistency rather than glamour. Its hydraulic system delivers enough flow to run loaders and mid-sized implements, while a rear linkage rated at roughly 3 tons ensures it can take on heavy draft work with surprising confidence. The tractor is still being produced, and its place in the market is clear: a durable, affordable machine that earns trust through function, not flash. Working backward, the reasons for its endurance become clear. When AGCO unveiled the Global Series in 2016, the 4700 was positioned as the cornerstone of the series. Massey Ferguson understood that while flagship tractors with 300 horsepower and precision farming terminals captured headlines, much of the world needed something simpler. The 4700 was engineered in Beauvais, but manufactured in multiple countries, allowing AGCO to distribute it to regions where service networks and cost control were critical. Its design emphasized weight, a robust chassis, and simple transmissions, such as the 8x8 synchro shuttle, technology that was easy to repair and reliable in areas where downtime could cripple a farm. Going back further, the philosophy behind the 4700 recalls the Massey Ferguson ethos of earlier decades. Tractors built to last, easy to service, and capable of working in harsh conditions without complaint. The series avoided unnecessary electronics, focusing instead on mechanical strength. That choice enabled it to adapt across continents, whether in rice paddies, hayfields, or dryland cotton. The Massey Ferguson 4700 did not arrive to claim records in horsepower or technology. Instead, its story runs in reverse. Understanding its present success requires seeing how it was built from the ground up for resilience, affordability, and global adaptability. The tractor continues forward, but its place in history can be traced back to that 2016 launch, when the Global Series set out to bring Massey Ferguson's reliability to every corner of the world. Ranked 7th, Massey Ferguson 240, the farmer's first tractor. From the global series of recent years, the countdown shifts to a machine of modest scale but massive impact, the Massey Ferguson 240. Introduced in the early 1980s as part of the 200 series, this compact tractor was powered by a Perkins 3-cylinder diesel engine, producing just 46 horsepower. Yet it became one of the most recognizable workhorses in agricultural history, with its 8-speed gearbox, open-center hydraulics, and a rear lift capacity of around 1.5 tons. It was designed not to impress with numbers, but to endure season after season of work. Manufactured first in Coventry, England, and later in other assembly plants worldwide, the MF240 was designed with a clear purpose: to provide farmers with a dependable and affordable tool. It replaced older utility models, such as the MF135, while retaining the familiar Perkins AD 3.152 engine, which is already respected for its reliability and ease of maintenance. In an era when farming technology was advancing rapidly, the 240 resisted unnecessary complexity. Its simplicity made it easy to service in remote villages as well as on commercial farms, a factor that spread its popularity from Europe into Africa, South Asia, and beyond. In daily use, the 240 proved itself as a versatile utility tractor. Small farmers used it for plowing, cultivating, haymaking, and transport. Vineyards and orchards valued its compact size and maneuverability. Contractors found it sturdy enough to handle loaders and trailers, while consuming little fuel compared to larger machines. For many families, this was the first tractor they could purchase, transforming how they worked the land and laying the foundation for future mechanization. Even decades after production ended, the MF240 is far from rare. Across Africa and Asia, thousands remain in service, supported by a robust aftermarket of spare parts and mechanics who are familiar with the Perkins engine inside and out. On the second-hand market, prices are modest, but a well-maintained 240 is often regarded as a wise investment for small farms. Collectors also view it as a classic symbol of Massey Ferguson's reach during the 1980s. The Massey Ferguson 240 never claimed headlines for record power or advanced systems. Its legacy is quieter, a machine that has continued to operate long after newer models came and went. The film closes on a tractor still running in the background of everyday agriculture, its endurance marked not by words but by silence. Ranked 6th, Massey Ferguson 399, ordinary made legendary. At first glance, the Massey Ferguson 399 seemed like just another entry in the 300 series lineup. Introduced in 1986, it looked conventional: a 6-cylinder Perkins engine producing around 100 horsepower, an open-center hydraulic system, and a straightforward 12-speed gearbox. Nothing in its specifications suggested it would stand out. Yet over time, the 399 became one of the most respected Massey Ferguson tractors of its era, precisely because of the qualities that made it appear ordinary. Farmers quickly discovered that the Perkins, a 6.354 engine in the 399, delivered smooth power and remarkable durability. With nearly 4,500 kilograms of rear lift and steady hydraulic flow, it could manage everything from plows and cultivators to trailers and balers. Its extra weight compared to smaller models in the 300 series gave it stability in heavy draft applications, while remaining simple enough to repair in the field. In regions where downtime could ruin a season, this combination became invaluable. Built in Coventry and later in other global plants, the 399 was marketed to medium and large-size farms that needed reliable horsepower without the complexity or price of higher-end machines. In Europe, it served as a dependable row crop and utility tractor. In Africa and the Middle East, it became legendary for handling punishing climates and poor roads while continuing to operate year after year. Its design avoided unnecessary electronics, and that choice gave it a longer practical lifespan than many tractors introduced in the same decade. The perception of the 399 shifted with time. What seemed like a conventional 100 horsepower tractor became, in retrospect, one of Massey Ferguson's most durable and globally trusted models. Even decades after production ended, thousands remain in service. In auctions across Eastern Europe, Africa, and Asia, Used MF 399s still command steady prices, valued as much for their reputation as for their mechanics. Collectors, too, see them as the last of an era, a tractor that embodied mechanical reliability before the industry entered its electronic age. And so the story of the 399 is told in inversion. What entered the market as another workhorse became something more, a machine whose simplicity transformed into legendary status. Its reputation was not built on innovation, but on endurance, turning a seemingly ordinary tractor into one of Massey Ferguson's most enduring icons. Ranked fifth, Massey Ferguson 275 Power for Small Farms. By the mid-1970s, farmers worldwide needed a tractor that balanced fuel economy with rugged dependability. Massey Ferguson answered with the 275, launched in 1976 as part of the 200 series. Powered by a Perkins A 4.2 364-cylinder diesel engine, delivering around 67 horsepower, it was a tractor designed for efficiency rather than excess. Its 8-speed gearbox, open-center hydraulics, and rear lift capacity of just over 2 tons placed it firmly in the heart of the mid-power class. Nothing about the specifications was revolutionary, but everything about the design was practical. The 275 was produced in multiple factories, with Brazil playing a central role in its global story. There it became a cornerstone of agricultural development, bringing mechanization to smallholder farms that previously relied on animal power. Across Africa and Asia, it was equally transformative, providing reliable horsepower in areas where downtime could mean the loss of a season's harvest. Farmers valued the Perkins engine for its durability, easy maintenance, and modest fuel consumption, while the straightforward transmission ensured that repairs could be made without specialized tools. In daily use, the MF 275 performed every kind of job a farmer could ask of it. It plowed fields, planted crops, hauled trailers, and powered implements, often working far beyond the expectations of its 67 horsepower. Its compact size made it agile in orchards and small fields, yet its robust construction meant it could pull above its weight when needed. The tractor's adaptability and low cost made it especially appealing to governments and aid programs in the late 1970s and 1980s, which distributed thousands of units to developing regions. Today, the Massey Ferguson 275 continues to be in operation in large numbers, particularly in Latin America and Africa. Spare parts remain widely available, and its mechanical simplicity ensures that it is still serviceable without advanced workshops. On the second-hand market, it is not considered rare or expensive, but for many farmers, it remains irreplaceable. In wealthier regions, however, its presence has almost entirely faded, replaced by newer models with higher horsepower, advanced hydraulics, and electronic systems. The MF275 story is one of global reach, but its ending is defined by absence. Once a common sight across continents, it is now rare to find it in developed markets where modern machines dominate. Its legacy remains strongest not where it is celebrated, but where it quietly endures, in fields far from the spotlight, still doing the work it was built to do. Ranked fourth, Massey Ferguson 188, Power in the Middle Class. As farming demands increased in the early 1970s, Massey Ferguson offered a solution that combined reliability with higher power in a mid-size frame. The MF188, introduced in 1972, carried a Perkins A 4.248 four-cylinder diesel engine that delivered around 80 horsepower, enough to give medium-sized farms a tool that could handle nearly every task. Its 8-speed gearbox with the optional multi-power system made it versatile, while its rear lift capacity of about 2.6 tons meant it could manage heavier implements than earlier models in the 100 series. At the Coventry plant in England, where the 188 was assembled, Massey Ferguson was at the height of its influence. The 188 fit ideally between the smaller 165 and the large frame 1100 series, ensuring that farms of every scale could find a tractor in the lineup. Exported widely, it became especially popular across Europe, where mixed farms required a machine that could plow, cultivate, transport, and handle haymaking without the need for specialized equipment. For many farmers, the 188 represented a step up. More horsepower, greater lift, but still affordable and easy to maintain. In practice, the tractor built its reputation on torque and versatility. With its Perkins diesel engine, it had enough pulling power for 2 or 3 bottom plows, and its hydraulic system kept pace with the implements of the time. Farmers valued its ability to haul trailers on the road with confidence, then return to the field for cultivation and planting. Its durability also meant that, with proper maintenance, many units outlasted newer tractors that followed. Although the MF-188 left production decades ago, its influence remains visible. In regions such as Africa and Eastern Europe, it remains in service, while in Western Europe and North America, it is more often found in collections or at vintage tractor shows. Prices on the second-hand market reflect its reputation. Affordable compared to rare classics, but increasingly sought after by enthusiasts who see it as a milestone of Massey Ferguson's 1970s engineering. The MF-188 may no longer be the backbone of farms, but its chapter is carefully preserved in the company's history. Its name appears in auction catalogs, restoration projects, and farm records that document an era when an 80-horsepower tractor could meet almost every demand. And that is how the story ends. Not in absence, but in the archive, remembered as a dependable workhorse from Massey Ferguson's golden years. Ranked third, Massey Ferguson 165, still working after 60 years. Even today, more than half a century after its debut, the Massey Ferguson 165 continues to appear in fields, hauling trailers, turning hay, and plowing ground. Its simple design, dependable Perkins diesel engines, and robust Ferguson hydraulics have allowed it to outlast not just its own generation, but several that followed. For farmers in Africa, South Asia, and even parts of Europe, the 165 is still considered a working tractor, not a relic. Tracing the story backward explains why. The 165 was introduced in 1964 as part of the 100 series, a lineup meant to modernize Massey Ferguson's global range. Built in Coventry, it carried a Perkins A 4.212 engine, producing around 58 horsepower, which was later upgraded to the A 4.236, producing about 67 horsepower. This gave it more pulling power and torque than the MF-65 it replaced. Transmission choices included an 8-speed gearbox or the optional multi-power, which allowed operators to shift under load, effectively doubling the number of usable gears. For farmers of the 1960s, this was cutting-edge convenience. At the time, the MF-165 hit a sweet spot. With roughly 50 PTO horsepower and a rear lift capacity near 2 tons, it could handle a wide range of implements, from 3-furrow plows to hay balers. It was versatile enough to serve as the sole tractor on a medium-sized farm or as a secondary unit on a larger estate. Its Ferguson hydraulic system was a central selling point, reliable, precise, and more advanced than many competitors offered. By the late 1960s and 1970s, the MF-165 was in fields across Europe, North America, and the developing world. Its Perkins engine became famous for fuel efficiency and longevity. Farmers came to trust the 165 not only for its performance, but also for its ease of service, with parts widely available through Massey Ferguson's growing dealer network. Returning to its origins, the MF-165 stands as the natural successor to the MF-65, taking everything that tractor had achieved and raising the bar. It became one of the most successful models in Massey Ferguson's history, produced in large numbers and exported to dozens of countries. Today, collectors restore them, farmers still rely on them, and its reputation ensures that the 165's name is permanently recorded in tractor history. The Massey Ferguson 165 story runs in reverse, from a tractor still working today, back through its decades of service, and finally to its launch in 1964, when it was simply the newest member of the 100 series. Its legacy is the continuity of presence. Half a century on, it remains as relevant in fields as the day it left the factory. Ranked second, Massey Ferguson 135, the People's Tractor. Few tractors in history can claim the influence of the Massey Ferguson 135. Released in 1964 as part of the 100 series, it quickly established itself as the benchmark for small farm mechanization. With its Perkins AD 3.152 diesel engine delivering about 45 horsepower, it struck the perfect balance, strong enough to pull two-furrow plows or run a hay baler, yet light and compact enough for orchards, vineyards, and livestock yards. The Perkins engine became the star, economical, reliable, and serviceable anywhere with basic tools. The transmission choices reflected the same philosophy. Standard models came with a simple 6-speed gearbox, but farmers could opt for multi-power, which doubled the available gears and allowed for on-the-go shifting. Hydraulic performance was steady and dependable, capable of lifting around 1.5 tons, more than enough for the implements of its time. In daily use, the 135 proved versatile, cultivating fields, spraying crops, hauling wagons, and handling loaders. For many smallholders, this was the first tractor that mechanized every step of their operation. Built in Coventry, England, and later in factories worldwide, the MF-135 became a truly international machine. It replaced the MF-35 but built on its strengths, with refinements in power, comfort, and reliability. By the end of the 1970s, hundreds of thousands had been sold worldwide. In Africa, it became the backbone of development projects. In North America and Europe, it became a trusted companion for family farms. Farmers praised not just its ability to work, but also its ability to keep working year after year with minimal downtime. Even today, the 135 remains remarkably common. Across the United States, Europe, and Asia, many continue to operate on small farms, side by side with modern tractors. Restored examples appear at vintage shows, while countless working units still start up every morning to haul, mow, or plow. Its status as one of the best-selling tractors of all time ensures that parts remain available, and its design ensures that repairs are straightforward. The Massey Ferguson 135 doesn't end with nostalgia or a tidy chapter in history books. Its story cuts into the present, with engines still running and implements still attached. In barns and fields across the world, the 135 is still at work. And that is how its place in the countdown is marked. Not concluded, not archived, but continuing without an ending. In first place, Massey Ferguson 35, the tractor that started it all. The countdown ends where Massey Ferguson truly began, with the MF-35, launched in 1956. It was more than just a replacement for the Ferguson TE-20. It was the tractor that unified Massey Harris and Ferguson into a single global identity. Painted in the now legendary red and gray, it became instantly recognizable in farmyards across the world. At its heart, the MF-35 was equipped with either a standard 23C diesel engine or a petrol engine. Still, the arrival of the Perkins AD 3.152 three-cylinder diesel engine transformed it into a machine with enhanced endurance and economy. Delivering around 45 horsepower, it struck the perfect balance for small and medium farms. Powerful enough to replace draft animals and outdated machinery, yet compact and simple enough to be maintained with basic tools. Its transmission was straightforward, with 6 forward and 2 reverse gears, reliable and easy to operate. The Ferguson hydraulic system provided precise implement control, a feature that made it far more adaptable than most tractors of its time. The MF-35 story is not just about technology, but about impact. In the late 1950s and 1960s, as agriculture modernized across Europe and North America, the 35 became the first tractor for countless families. It was the machine that turned plowing, mowing, hauling, and baling from backbreaking manual labor into efficient mechanized farming. In Africa and Asia, it often represented the very first step into modern mechanization, distributed through aid programs and local assembly. In every corner of the globe, the MF-35 brought consistency, productivity, and opportunity. Over 2 million units were produced, and its influence spread well beyond its years of manufacture. Its success ensured the dominance of Massey Ferguson as a brand and set the pattern for the legendary 100 series that followed. Farmers who bought them in the 1960s often passed them down to the next generation, and many of those machines are still running today, 7 decades later. Collectors view it as a classic. Working farmers still see it as a dependable tool. Parts remain available, particularly for the Perkins versions, keeping the MF-35 alive, not as a museum piece, but as a functioning partner in agriculture. Few tractors have achieved such a blend of ubiquity, durability, and affection. The MF-35 closes this countdown not with statistics or nostalgia, but with presence. The film lingers on its red and gray frame, the Perkins engine ticking steadily, the Ferguson hydraulics lifting and lowering a plow with effortless precision. No more words are needed. The Massey Ferguson 35 stands as the embodiment of the brand itself. The tractor that defined the brand, reshaped global farming, and secured its place forever as #1. From the MF-35, which defined a brand in the 1950s, to the 8S series, leading agriculture into the future, these 10 tractors represent more than engineering milestones. They mark the turning points of farming itself, moments when technology, reliability, and accessibility change the way people work the land. Each machine on this list tells part of a larger story, how Massey Ferguson became one of the most trusted names in global agriculture. Some of these tractors remain in daily use. Others are preserved in collections and archives. Yet all of them share one trait. They left a mark strong enough to be remembered decades later. Together, they chart the evolution of farming from simple mechanics to modern precision technology. The countdown ends here, but the journey doesn't stop. Beyond these 10, countless other machines, forgotten prototypes, regional legends, and tractors built for extremes wait to be rediscovered. In our next episode, we'll step into that world. Tractors so powerful, unusual, or oversized that they blurred the line between farming machine and industrial giant. Until then, thank you for watching. See you in the following field.